and welcome to the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club with 4 race starts. We're going to start with our category 4 riders, then 3, 2 and 1. Our riders lined up in yellow, that is our category 1 riders, in green our category 2, in blue category 3 and category 4 in red.
Simon Cox has decided he's not waiting for the Yebble feet to make his mark. He's decided he's going from the gun. It's a very long 45 kilometres, Simon Cox, if you want to be out and ahead. Nobody else responding.
23.3k covered, over half race distance over the first big climb. Dropped off the other side, we now have the climb upcoming. This is the attacking point for me where you can really do some damage. Anybody who hasn't recovered from the big climb is going to be in trouble. Stan Van Vellegem, he's improving. He's climbing his way all the way into the race lead. He's now our leader on the road, the category 3 leader.
A kick is coming from behind, but it is not going to be enough because Connell has more watts. Connell has more power. Tim Connell has put 23 seconds into SS on the climb and he goes under the UCI banner for qualifier number 1 in August. This was the endurance climb for qualifier race 2 on the Sunday Race Club here in August 2024. MyWhoosh, the UCI partner for the next 3 years. And it's Jason Osborne who takes the win today. He takes the win in category 1 on the Sunday Race Club.
Somebody has got to choose their moment correctly. I think it's who goes first, and Roy went at 9.5 watts per kilo there. He's been chased though by West, who's on his wheel at 14 watts per kilo. West at the front with the yellow bandana starts to open the gap on Roy with that white helmet behind him, and Alex West has found a sprint from somewhere. Alex West takes victory in category 4 on qualifier race 3 on the Sunday Race Club.
Stan Van Vellegem, the Belgium rider, has ridden away from the riders behind in category 3. He sees the UCI banner. He is going to be the rider over the line first today. Your winner, Stan Van Vellegem, in the final of August in category 3.
Madame, Messieurs, bonjour, ravi de vous retrouver sur MyWhoosh pour ce Sunday Race Club catégorie au départ, la catégorie 4 en rouge, les bleus de la catégorie 3, la catégorie 2 en vert et bien sûr la catégorie 1 en jaune avec les rouges qui vont ouvrir le bal, et c'est bien vu, avec Olivier Simons, qui n'est pas non plus le dernier pour placer des attaques. Olivier Simons, coureur qui est quand même assez généreux dans l'effort, c'est pas un coureur attentiste. Mister X100, ah bah voilà, ça y est, on est parti pour Mister X100, la machine se met en route, attaque, la première de Mister X100, on ne peut pas le louper avec son maillot, son vélo jaune et ses roues roses. Jonction à 200 mètres de la ligne et Connolly qui le déborde. Ah oui, SS il n'en peut plus, il est cuit, il a tout perdu, sur la fin. Oh là là, le renversement de situation qu'on n'avait pas vu venir, incroyable. Oh là là, il va s'en vouloir SS et Tim Connolly qui s'offre un succès quasiment inespéré, incroyable. Jason hors norme tout simplement aujourd'hui pour un succès de prestige sur ce Sunday Race Club. Voilà qui est fait. Jason Osborne qui s'impose en surclassement. Ça y est, le sprint est lancé en tout cas. Justin Roy a du 8 watts, 9 watts par kilo. Alex West, regardez la puissance d'Alex West. Ah ouais, il est plus puissant. 12 watts par kilo. C'est parti avec Alex West qui vient s'imposer. Voilà, c'était le plus rapide. On voit l'arche sur la droite, Stan Van Vellegem qui va aller chercher la victoire, sa première sur la plateforme MyWhoosh. Et quelle victoire ici en finale du mois d'août. Stan Van Vellegem qui s'impose, voilà qui est fait, bravo aux Belges. Belle surprise en tout cas dans la catégorie 3.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. مشاهدينا الكرام، متابعينا في كل مكان، أهلا وسهلا بكم مع الانطلاقات ال4 والفئات ال4. الفئة باللون الأحمر، الفئة الرابعة والفئة الثالثة بالأزرق، والفئة الثانية باللون الأخضر، والأولى باللون الأصفر.
فريق الوثبة سباق بالمشاركة في سباقات يوم الأحد على تطبيق مايوش فئة الرجال، واليوم كانت مشاركته الأولى في فئة السيدات أيضا.
محمد القيس يحاول أن يتحرك في عملية بريكاوي، تحرك قوي الآن لمحمد. محمد يذهب الآن في عملية هجوم، هذا الهجوم الآن يتقدم. ملك صعود المرتفعات الجبلية يتقدم الآن من الإمارات في هذه اللحظات. مستر إكس 100 يتقدم الآن. تم كان هو بطلا لهذه الفئة الرابعة في السباق التأهيلي الأول لشهر أغسطس. إذا تم بطلا للفئة الرابعة، فعلها هذا الدراجة النيوزيلندي. يا له من يوم، يا لها من منافسة. 45 كيلو متر في ساعة و40. معدل السرعة لا يتعدى 20 أو 25. نعم، لأن بالفعل الصعوبة الآن سرعة 16 ويصل إلى الخط النهاية. جيسون أوسبورن، جوستن روي ينطلق اكسلريشن الآن، عملية اسبرنت قوية. يتقدم أليكس ويست النيوزيلندي، يتقدم أليكس في مقدمة السباق. مقاومة موجودة من جوستن روي. أليكس إلى خط النهاية،
ينطلق في آخر 200 متر إلى النهاية، نهاية السباق. سوف يحرز المركز الأول بعدما كان بالمركز الثاني في الأسبوع الماضي. اللاعب ستان فان يدخل وينهيها بالمركز الأول للفئة الثالثة في نهائي شهر أغسطس، ويكتفي اللاعب سانتياغو خلفه يتنافس على السبرنت على المركز الثاني. ألف مبروك لستان فان المركز الأول.
Hello and welcome to the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. We're here for qualifier race number 1 in September. You are joining me, Emma Martin, here on the start line with the men. And for the first time ever in the men's race, we are heading to MyWhoosh World today. Yes, it is going to be great to be racing on the New World, and that is the course the men are going to be faced with. So 45 kilometres of racing, 1,173 metres of climbing. Yes, you did hear that correctly. And 500 metres out of the start pen, they hit the first climb today. So 5 climbs along the way. You can see them on the map in red. That first climb, the Flam Forge Abyss climb, coming at 500 metres, 3.9 kilometres long, average gradient of 6%. That is one way to wake up the legs today. We then drop down through the Rolling Cave climb, through the Crimson Sands sprint, on to the Shroom Grove climb. Well, we then go through Eco City, up the Future City climb, through the Frozen Lake sprint, and then more than 50% of the climb comes at the end because they hit the Everesting climb. And then there's 300 metres to the checkered flag. It is going to be an epic race. And our Category 4 riders are going to be the first riders out of the start pen today. A number of teams present. The Al Wathba QTR Pro Squad, the Level Avengers, the Level Elite, Level Up Racing, and the Mighty Ducks all represented today. And it was Alex West from Level Up Racing who took top spot in the August final. The Anzacs upcycled and ZTBR are here as well. 8 teams in total, 58 riders on the start sheets, and green for go, away go Category 4, the red jersey wearers. The first category away on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. Category 4 are up and out of the start pen, and as you can see on the top right-hand corner of your screen, it's a flat 500 metres, and then the only way is up. Well, we've got one rider really pushing hard on the front, and it's Jonathan Cridland, 6 watts per kilo into the climb. Well, Cridland's either feeling strong, anyone was feeling strong with Luke Allport chasing them, because Allport, he Allports out of that start pen every single week, and Allporting onto the base of the climb. He is leading the Category 4 men onto the Flam Forge Abyss climb. 4.4 kilometres of climbing. Well, it is phenomenal. 6% the average gradient, and it's fairly steady, the gradient of this climb. So Allport and Cridland, the first two riders up and out of the pen and onto the climb at the moment, they have a long, long tail of red behind them. So Allport pushing on, just looking to see the riders pushing towards the front of this pack. Cridland is there, Connell is there, Agudelo is there, Horsley is there, Somerville is there as well. So is Stefan Proust. These riders all coming towards the fore. Justin Roy, Alex West, both from Level Up Racing. West took the win last week. Roy finished in 5th place. It was really, really competitive in the men's team competition. The Anzacs actually took the win from the Level Avengers, so it was really close racing. But here today, Luke Allport, we've already seen him in action. Jacques Russenek, always strong when there's a climb about towards the end, and 50% of all the elevation coming in the last climb today, the last 7 kilometres. So Jacques Russenek, we're expecting him to be up there. Jeff Rooney is no slouch when it comes to climbing, and he's been up and out on this Everesting climb, and we can talk a little bit about that later. Mark Dadson is here, Brett McMurtry, Scott Francis, who finished 3rd last week, Tim Connell, we've already seen him up towards the front of the race, but it's Luke Allport at the moment still on the charge. That is a man whose level of fitness is through the roof at the moment, all in preparation for taking his spot on the start line at the World Championship Esports semi-finals coming up later this month. Well, Allport on form at the moment, leading category 4, Cridland in 2, Proust in 3, Agudelo in 4. James Mountier is there as well. So these riders joining this group at the very front of this category 4 race. Adriano Zanaska, Ben Lee, Joshua Callangad, John Back, Robert Cronje, all on the start line today. In fact, you know what? 206 men in completion on the start line across 4 categories today. Phenomenal race field. Cridland, you can see there on the screen in front of you, part and parcel of this early move in the top 10 at the moment. And you can see on the bottom left-hand corner of the screen, the damage being done, and we reckoned, taking a look at the course map earlier on in the week, that you needed to be up and over the top of this first climb in the lead of the group to really be in the mix for this race, because this is a difficult race start. You need to have warmed up well. You need to be ready for it to hit hard, and you need to be ready for Luke Allport going off of the front. Mark Dadson sitting in 20th at the moment. Felipe Tortoretto is there. Diego Navarro is there, as well as Category 4 continue on their climb. They're 2 kilometres up the climb at the moment. As we drop into the start pens with Category 3, our blue jersey wearers, we're in with Felipe Marin, one of the riders, but 4 teams represented here today. The Anzacs, Draft, Level Racing and Pro Beginner, all on the start sheets today, alongside 57 riders. And, Van Vellegem, who took the win last week in the August final, here on the start sheets, as well as Didac, who took 5th place, Cadiz, Sanchez, Marin, Kochkov, Velez, who took 4th, Amaro took 3rd. Matteo Pino is here, Nick Scolari. They are all in the mix in that huge pack of blue jersey racers. And I tell you something, there's a fast flyer on the front here as well today, because who wants 500 metres flat if you can take it steady before you go up? And, the front of this race field already around the bend. And Nick Cansara, Lewis Ridley, Santiago Velis, Felipe Marin, Wayne Smythe, all in the mix. But it's Mikel Zurek on the front at the moment. So Zurek and Moreno on the front. Absolutely flying in Category 3. So the men's race for September underway. This is the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. This is the 1st of September, so it's the first qualifier of the month. The final Sunday of the month being the finale, the final, where the team competition comes into play. We go back at the beginning of each month to qualifier 1, 2 qualifying races finished and verified for you to get into that monthly finale where the team competition comes into play. Everybody wants to be there because that's where the team competition is and that's where the great racing is as well. So Van Vellegem in category 3 from Angarita, Amaro, Velez and Diduch. There was just 19 seconds separating the top 5 last week on the Jebel Hafit in that August final, and just 35 seconds separating the top 2 teams. It was the gold grabbers who took it from draft. Johan Moreno is on our screen at the moment, and he's well and truly mixed in this pack. He's not been dropped. In fact, actually, the front of this category 3 pack, much tighter matched than the front of the category 4 pack, who you can also see on the screen as one very long line of riders working their way up through the Flame Forge Abyss climb. So Nicholas Spratt now coming to the fore at the front of this category 3 race. Mikkel Zurek, the rider who went off the front at the start of the race, still in the mix too. Peter Connell is there as well. Dorvin Elos, SS. Pino is there too. SS coming up from category 4, returning to racing recently and now working his way up to category 3. Great to see that progression. Ridley, Scolari, Deleuze, there as well. Voyak in the mix as well as Godzari. Really great to see new riders joining us week in, week out on the Sunday Race Club. "45 kilometres of racing for the men today. And this first climb at 6%, 3.9 kilometres in length. 237 metres of climbing on this first climb. So within the first 5 kilometres of racing, really challenging race route today. They get to the top of the climb at 4.4 kilometres into the race. Then they descend to the 7.3 kilometre mark before they go through the rolling cave. So really interesting to see how the men race this course. Big climb at the front, big climb at the end. It's the Everesting climb at the end today, but they're not thinking about that. They're thinking about the Flame Forge Abyss climb. That's the one they're on at the moment. And Connell doing a phenomenal job right at the front of this race. He's not on the front, but he is marking the moves at the moment, making sure he's there or thereabouts. Fabulous positioning from Peter Connell. Nicole Cansara, Santiago Velez there as well. Nick Squilari, Rafael Amaro in the mix too. These riders riding tactically astute today on this early climb. Nicholas Haglund, one of the Swedish riders. Sweden really producing some fantastic esports cycling races, both in the men's and the women's. Actually, we can drop in with Nicholas Haglund as well at the moment. You can see him there on the screen. And for our new viewers, you can see on the race course at the moment, on the list of names, Haglund highlighted in blue. You can see his stats on top of the screen. You can see his face on the bottom left. Great to be able to put faces to our avatars and for you week in, week out on the Sunday Race Club. You can follow your favourites in all of the race categories. The personalities really shine through in the racing. So Haglund now picking up the mantle at the front of this climb in category 3. They are 1.4 kilometres behind the leaders in category 4. And category 4 are strung out so far back down this mountain. This is such a phenomenal start to the Sunday Race Club in September. But this group riding really strongly, actually, looking like we've got a group of around 11 riders clear at the moment. Bogren just not making the cut there, and Callangad and McMurtry not either. Now, it's going to be really interesting to see whether any gaps established on this early climb can be brought back throughout the rest of the race, or whether within the first 5 kilometres that lead group has been established well and truly in this race. Now, Calangad in the mix here with McMurtry, with Calderon, and Winfield in this group too. That's a good group of riders, actually, but they're 6 seconds down on Bogren. Bogren is the rider they can see just ahead of them, so I think they'll bring him back into the group. So I think you're going to find Albin Bogren brought back into that McMurtry group. Then we've got a group of 11 riders up the road. Jacques Russenet just a little bit off the pace at the moment with Kevin Horsley, but Smithson is there, so is Robinson, so is Proust, so is Mountier, West, Roy. This group of category 4 leaders pushing on nicely. So 11 riders coming towards the top of the climb. In fact, there you go. Take a look. That's the polka dot banner signifying the top of the first climb today, the Flam Forge Abyss climb. And our category 4 races are going to be up and over it before category 2 are out of the start pen. Superb climbing from our category 4 races. Just a quick reminder, 58 riders were in the start sheets today. 11 riders in this group going over the top together. Matt Smithson, Stefan Proust, Tim Connell, James Robinson, Kevin Horsley, Alex West, Justin Roy, James Mountier going over the top as well. Ben Lee is there, so is Jacques Russenek and Luke Allport. Great to see. What a squad of category 4 riders. The question is, can they keep it together now till the 37.8 kilometre mark when they hit the base of the Everesting climb? Well, let's just take a little bit look of more detail at one of our riders. So Alex West, you can see him on the screen, not in real life, but that's a real life picture. So West on our screen, top performances in 2024. You can see he's had some great performances through August, topping the category on those huge climbing courses, the Heritage Climb and the Jebel Hafit, in with those 2 first places, but not ever shy about stepping on the podium. Top 5 positions in each of our race fields hit the podium on the Sunday Race Club. And Alex West, where you can see there, he's had 5 podiums. Those are his top performances in 2024 so far, because it's only September. Well, back in with category 3, they're 3.5 kilometres into, they're not even 10% done. But SS now pushing on Kansara, Connell, Squilari, East, the riders that are chasing. And SS is about to come up onto the back markers of the Category 4 race. So Carvajal, Medeiros, Schoberg, these 3 riders in Category 4 about to see the leader of Category 3 go past. The chasing group also coming and coming hard. Now, we know SS climbs really strongly and we know he likes to go out hard at the beginning of the race. We have seen recently in Category 4 him get caught towards the latter stages of the race. So it's going to be really interesting to see what happens today in Category 3. But obviously driving and pushing very, very strongly at the moment. Well, waiting in the start pens are Category 2 and Category 1. Category 2, we're going to see leave those pens first. 53 riders on the start sheets today in Category 2 and a number of teams, 8 in total. So the Al Athbar QTR Pro Squad, the Goats, Lever NSA Racing, MyWhoosh Werewolves, Rule 5. What's 1, 2, 3 and 4? Well, we may never know, but Rule 5 are here. The riders and racers, it was Mr. X100 from the UAE clan team who took the win in the August final, but it was the Goats who took the win overall in the team competition from the Wattage Warlocks, the UAE clan team here today, the UAE Falcons, and what's up with Walter Clays on the start line today. Away go Category 2. The lava is ahead of them. It's flowing down. And, well, they're not going to be going down. They're going to be going up. So up the first climb, 500 metres of flat. And then we go straight up now. The Category 2 race field. No one charging off the front like we saw in Category 3 and Category 4. Category 2, a little more sedate. well, I'm not quite sure we can call category 2 sedate, but they are indeed a bigger group, not as stretched out in the early stages of the race. Now, X100 took the win last week. Khan Kayan put in a phenomenal dig in the final few hundred metres to come through into second place. Burke Kayan, so the two Turkish riders finishing in second and third place, just 2 seconds separating the top 4 riders in category 2 last week, with Christoph Thiem coming through fourth place. Ivan Nuki finishing in 5th to round out the podium. Such strength and depth in category 2. We see it week in, week out with some really, really strong performances. 1 minute 57 seconds separating the two teams, the Goats and the Wattage Warlocks. So a bigger time gap between the teams in category 2 than in category 3. Really interesting. And we were on the Jebel Hafit last week. We're on the MyWhoosh World this week, and Mohammed El Alami, there he is in his pain cave on your screens with some phenomenal mountain bike art in the background. And little bit reminding me of where I am today. I'm currently up at Pal Arinsal in Andorra at the World Mountain Bike Championships, and we're bringing you the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club from there today. Well, I might even be a little bit higher than our riders are climbing today, up at altitude here, but John Brune, well, from the USA, is the rider on the move at the moment. They are now on the climb, the Flamme Forge Abyss climb, and it is John Brune who is pushing on at the front of this category 2 race. James Krasnich, Alex Heaney, Carlos Ospina, Cam Winfield moving through the pack as well. That's great to see. Jonas Bjarhed, now we know Bjarhed, really strong rider in category 2 when it comes to climbing. Really going to look forward to seeing these men race this course today and see how they go. Well, currently going at the moment in category 4, they're 9 kilometres into the race now. This is the front of the race because category 4 started first, and Bruce, Smithson, Allport, Mountier, Connell, Russeneck, Roy. In fact, we had 9 riders leading that category 4 race field at the top of the climb, all still together at the moment. Category 2, though, Brune's gone hard and gone early on this climb. They've got some way still to go, but John Brune really motoring and pushing his legs. Well, also motoring and pushing and testing the legs is SS in category 3. There are 6.2 kilometres now. There is a 10-minute start difference between category 3 and category 2. A 5-minute difference between category 4 and category 3. So SS now moving his way up on that race field of category 4. He's on the descent of the climb. They're up and over. The gap looking at around 10 seconds. So it's going to be a huge chase group in category 3, charging down that mountain to try and close that gap and get back onto SS's wheel, whilst category 2 continue the climb. And take a look at that. The riders spread right across the road, indicating to me that they are all pretty much at a steady state pace together. So we did mention, 53 riders on this category 2 start sheet. The strength and depth of category 2, well, that is playing out in front of you at the moment. Alex Heaney, Cam Winfield, Nicholas von Haren are the riders you can see in the group. In fact, Cam Winfield, one of the younger riders there, just come back from a summer racing in Italy. So back on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. It's fabulous to have him. Well, category 1 are in the start pens, and we've got new riders on the start sheets as well in category 1. So great to have riders, whether you've been with us for years or whether this is your first Sunday Race Club. A few teams joining us today, 3 in fact. Alpha Jaw are here, hard to guard. And the Venga boys, well, hard to guard, did indeed take the win last week from Alpha Jaw. As always, a great battle in category 1, as in the other categories in the team competitions. Now, hard to guard, Jason Osborne took top spot last week. Can he do it on the MyWhoosh World? He is looking phenomenal in the run-up to those World Championship semi-finals. Away go, category 1. We're in with Joselle Betty at the moment. The pack rolling strongly out the start pen. Now, Osborne taking first place last week from Hard to Guard. His teammate Michael Knudsen taking third. Ollie Jones from Alpha Jaw took a great second place last week. Seb Dvert, first time on the podium, took fourth from the Venga boys. That was phenomenal. Hayden Pucker is with us today. Bjorn Andreasen is on the start sheet, so I'm going to be very pleased if our current reigning world champion has taken to the start pen, because that is going to be an interesting race. Arnie Jacobs is here as well. You can see him on the screen. On the thumbnail picture, he's part and parcel of that leading pack at the moment. Already the look of concentration on his face as he goes underneath the polka dot banner as part and parcel of that category 1 pack, and on to that first climb today. Already up and out the saddle because the gradient, over 5%. So Nair, Vujasin, Kaminsky, Jacobs, Plantero, Paradians, Ritter, Troshanowski, Tim Cutler is here as well. Martin Martins is here. Casper Bormans. That is really interesting to see. Great to see Casper Bormans, the Finnish rider, finished 14th in the Paris-Roubaix Juniors this year. Young rider from Finland, took the Junior Road Race and the Junior Individual Time Trial Championships this year. Really going to be interesting to see what he can do on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. Nikito up the front with Van Els. Van Els has been riding really, really strongly recently. His form is superb. Johan Noren, another rider that we can never discount when there's a lot of climbing. In fact, all of these riders really now starting to come into form. As we mentioned, the semi-finals of the World Championships on the 6th of September, which is one of the targets that these riders will also have. Lionel Vujasin there on the screen. You can see him up and out of the saddle on this climb in real life, as well as his avatar as well. Now, one of the riders who will be targeting those semi-finals and looking for a top 20 position in that competition to qualify for the World Championship finals at the end of October. But I say but because it is likely that every single rider you see in this category 1 race will be there on that start line battling for that top 20 position alongside Vujasin as well as other riders. It's going to be great. Well, if you're interested in watching that semi-finals, it is being streamed on the MyWhoosh YouTube channel and on Twitch TV. Head over to the MyWhoosh social media platforms. You can find MyWhoosh on Instagram, on Facebook, on X. You can follow and subscribe to their YouTube channel or to Twitch TV, and obviously get notifications of when the broadcasts go live. But you need to be there because the racing is going to be exceptional. Over 130 men will indeed take to the start line for the semi-finals, all battling for those top 20 spots. Well, it's looking like the prediction is coming. Oh, I love it when a prediction is coming true. It's just so sad that Matt isn't in the studio with me because SS has been pulled back in by the Category 3 chase group. Henry Yeast, part and parcel of that chase group. Spratt, Yeast, Kansara, SS, part and parcel of the mix. Lewis Ridley is there as well. They're at 10.2 kilometres into the race, and you can see the gradient. Lots of little kickers on this course. The women were also on the MyWhoosh World today. Head over to the YouTube channel and click and watch the women's race. They too were the first time out on the MyWhoosh World. A little bit of a different profile for that course for them, but lots and lots of short, sharp kickers, and it really played with the racing. I think it's going to play with the racing in the men's race. And I think it may catch one or two of our riders out because they'll be looking at the 2 big climbs. The first climb, that Flamme Forge Abyss climb, and the final climb, the Everesting climb. Category 3 really broken up, but this is a big group of riders. So it's looking like Nicholas Spratt about 6 seconds up the road. So Spratt seeming to have pushed on for a bit of a breakaway there in Category 3. Great to see him really having a go here. Having a go at the moment, Tim Cutler is off the front of the Category 1 race on the climb, climbing at his own pace. Category 2, they're coming towards the top of the climb very, very shortly. In fact, there it is. Oh, can you just see it? Can you not? They're very much going to see the polka dot banner signifying the top of the very first climb today, the Flamme Forge Abyss climb. There it is. It really hits you as you come through that stone archway. And the category 2 riders now coming through, and Niall Batty setting a phenomenal time at the moment in terms of being at the front of that race. Now, I'm just having a quick scroll. To me, 19 riders in the leading group of category 2 riders at the top of the first climb. A much bigger group in category 2 than we saw in category 3. It was just, she says, it was 11 riders in category. I think it was 9 riders in category 3. So really, really interesting in terms of the different nature of the racing. We've got a chase group, mind you, in category 2, quite hot on the heels, so they may well close down the gap and come back on to the pack. Well, X100, Millistic, all in the mix there. Batty is there, Fawcett is there, Coinston and Biarhead, Winfield, El Alami and Walter. So that's going to be a really tight battle in category 2. It's already a tight battle in category 1. Wow, they are absolutely motoring up this early climb. I say early climb, it came at 500 metres into the race. And take a look at the bottom left-hand corner of that screen. The stretch on the Category 1 group. We're in with Van Elsvu, Yassin, Osborne, Martins, De Ver, Knudsen, Panizza. That Panizza just being gapped from the group. Ollie Jones is in the mix. So is Vu Yassin. Kaminsky is there too. 6 riders, a small gap, 3 riders. They're closing it down. They do not want to let them go. This is the moment. This is where you've got to push on, because this is motoring now towards the top. You do not want to let the gaps go. You don't even want to let there be a blink of a second. The fight is on to stay on the back wheel of this group, because this is where you need to be. Stefan Van Elst on the picture with the fan blowing. You're going to need a fan because it is hot. The racing is hot, and well, it is going to keep battling right the way to the finish line today. So Christoph Koll at the front of the race, the Polish rider alongside his Polish teammate Mikhail Kaminsky. Those two, well, if we do not see those two battling it out in the semi-finals, I don't know what we are going to see, because the 2 Polish riders really, really strong, and strong on the Sunday Race Club as well. Ollie Jones, Stefan Van Elst, Jason Osborne, Michael Knudsen, Seb Dvert in here, Ricardo Panizza. In fact, Dvert and Panizza now being distanced. Borman's being distanced as well. So is Jacobs. This is phenomenal pace. Take a look at the effort from Kaminsky, just showing us the work and the effort a world-class rider needs to do. It never gets easier. You just go faster, and Kaminsky proving that with the effort it is taking to stay with these riders today. Kaminsky sits back down. We switch to category 2. They're into the rolling cave. This is a really interesting section, of course, because take a look at the profile on the top right-hand corner of your screen. It's constantly rolling. It's constantly bumpy. Whether you're going up or down, it's steep. 7%, 1%, 4%, up, down, up, down. It continues to roll. You've really got to use your cadence. You've really got to get it right here. 3 riders at the moment really motoring. X100, Winfield and Millistic. These 3 riders we are watching at the moment, but they are joined with the rest of this huge group of Category 2 riders, looking like 19 riders in Category 2, really motoring at the moment. It's a really, really strong, well-matched group. Tatu Coinston is in there. Jonas Biarhead, Winfield, El Alami, Fawcett, Millistic, X100. These are the riders I would expect to see in there. Carlos Ospina, never discount Carlos Ospina or Ivan Nuki. Really, really strong and tactically brilliant. Well, Panizza and Seb Dvert looking like they are off the pace at the moment. Martins, Bormans and Jacobs 6 seconds behind them. There may well be value in waiting for a larger group, but it's looking like it's lots of small groups in this Category one race. So Michael Knudsen setting the fastest time through the Flam Forge Abyss sprint climb. Well, it's personal best. It's the best ever so far on the Sunday Race Club on this climb of 8 minutes 14 seconds, 0.899. Vujasin, Van Elst, Osborne, Jones, Kaminsky, all within 1.4 seconds. Kroll, Panizza, well, 7 riders at Kroll. Panizza 19 seconds back with De Ver and Martins. Martins a little bit further back at 25 seconds. Those are the top 10 at the moment in category 1 up and over. Bormans, Jacobs, Plantero, Millerstick, Noren, Ritter, Paradians, Jande, Nair, Trojanowski and Keto all up and over as well. Noah Batty currently sat in 22nd place, fastest category 2 rider up and over that climb. Category 2 riders continuing to push on, having moved now through the rolling cave climb. Really interesting, you know, we had 19 riders at the top of the Flam Forge Abyss climb. We've got 18 riders now leading in this race. So one rider dropped. It looks like it's James Harvey actually, who has not made the cut, back at 47 seconds. Holweiler and Batty as well, as this group have pushed on from that first climb. So now leading the category 2 race. They're just coming up for 10 kilometers of racing. At 18 kilometers of racing, 18 kilometers further down than the category leaders, are the lead on the road at the moment, who are category 4 leading bunch. They are over Grove climb. Literally, that's the banner, and Stefan Proust now coming up to take that banner first. Justin Roy, Matt Smithson, Alex West, James Robbins, all in the mix there. Luke Allport, Tim Connell, they are all still there. Luke Allport around 2 seconds. It's Proust that's pushed on a little bit, not the rest of the pack who have dropped. But great to see that 4-pack really starting to move, and confirmation that 11 riders are leading category 4 race. So category 4 riders really pushing on. Great. Bruce, Lee, Smithson, Mountier, Connell, Roy, West and Horsley all moved strongly at the left. Behind them, we can see the category 3 race field. They're moving strongly, continue to transition through tea-coloured arena. That is the Shroom. Let's take a little look, shall we? Riders continuing to move, all 4 categories on at the moment, continuing to through a very, very technically challenging course today. Give that start pen into the 100-meter mark, onto that Flam Forge Abyss climb, dropping down on the other side through the rolling cave section. Really was a rolling cave section with gradients of around 7 or 8%, through the Crimson Sand sprint, and then down into the Shroom Grove, which is where we can see our category 3 riders at the moment. That Mushroom Grove climb finishing at 18.1 kilometers. So the category 3 riders really on that section. Category 4, they are completely up and through. Category 2 continuing move. Cam Winfield now at the front of the group with Phil Grace, Ross Fawcett, James Heaney, James Krasnich, all in the mix. Peter Milostic, X100, Ospina, and Ivan Nuki is still there too. It's still a huge group, and we said 18 riders in category 2 continuing to work strongly at the front of this category 2 race. They're now at 12 kilometers into the race, transitioning through that Crimson Sands sprint, and they then will be moving through towards the Shroom Grove climb. And for these category 2 riders, that climb just 1.5 kilometers with an average gradient of 3.3%. I don't think we are going to see this group change. I think we're going to see this group of 18 riders come through that section together. It's only category 4 riders at the moment who are through that Shroom Grove climb. Category 3 on that section as well. Ross Fawcett now, part and parcel of this leading category 2 group, resplendent in that stolen goat jersey. Great to see him putting in some phenomenal performances and really starting to come back into form on this category 2 race. And well, I was going to say this should be a course that suits him, but well, we'll see when we get to that Everesting climb at 37.8k. But one rider who will want this course to suit him is indeed X100, really strong rider and setting a fast pace here. And obviously not happy that the rest of the pack have just settled down a little bit. You can see Carlos Ospina on the front of the group at 2 watts per kilo, but Peter Millerstick deciding, no, we're not letting him go. I am going to do the chasing. Jump on, guys. Let's go. Let's catch him. Well, Phil Graves also picking up the mantle, but just taking a tow, like Ivan Nuki and Jonas Bjarhead, not wanting to do all the work, and very happy to let Millerstick take up the mantle. Well, there is Ivan Nuki, coaches at that Abu Dhabi Cycling Club and puts in phenomenal performances. And if you want a social media feed to follow Ivan Nuki and see what he gets up to in his coaching, because it is phenomenal to watch. And I do just love watching the little insights he gives into his coaching knowledge and just what that means for his riders. So Ivan Nuki really racing strongly as part and parcel of this category 2 race, in the mix with Ospina and Walter. Koinstinen just a little bit further back, but Heaney, Krasnich, El Alami all in this group. Well, Phil Graves closing the gap down, and this is a downhill section at the moment where the damage is being done. Never assume on the Sunday Race Club it's only hard uphill. Category 2 motoring strongly. They are very swiftly heading towards the Mushroom Grove climb. And you can see on that bottom left-hand corner, one big group of riders, and then they have absolutely ridden away from everybody else in that Category 2 race. Phil Graves now on the front, pushing on strongly. And we can see now, if you look at the top right hand corner of the screen, the gradient at the moment on that graphic, it really showing you rolling through these rolling sections through the woodlands, really short, sharp and steep. James Krasnich coming to the front. Cam Winfield is there, as well as Mohamed El Alami, all paying attention and really watching what they're doing now at this 15-kilometre mark into this 45-kilometre racing. Who can believe they've still got 30 kilometres of racing to go? Well, I'm not going to say that out loud because I don't want any of our riders to be put off and not have that motivation and drive to finish and thinking, wow, what have we already done in the first 15 kilometres? But the Category 3 riders are 20 kilometres into this race. Well, the Eco City Sprint coming at 21 kilometres is the next banner that they'll see. But Nick Squilari having a phenomenal race at the moment. He's really pushing on and continuing to work strongly at the head of this group. SS Amaro, Ridley, Kansara, Tidholm in the mix too. Fabulous to see these riders, but it's Squilari on the front. This is a downhill section at the moment, and they're rolling around 50 kilometres an hour as Squilari picks up the towel and just mops his brow. I'm not surprised. It's hot work and hard work being in any of the leading groups, whichever category you are in here on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. We are in the MyWhoosh world. It's Sunday, the 1st of September. Oh, I can't believe that to start with, that September is here, but it is. And this is Qualifier 1 on the Sunday Race Club. We're in with the Category 3 men on the left-hand side of your screen and the Category 4 men on the right-hand side of your screen. And two good, strong leading groups. The leading group in category 4, 11 riders strong. And you can see Ben Lee in the mix there. You can see him on the screen as well at the moment. The effort going in here. Nearly 40 minutes of racing for category 4 as they go past the waterfall. But there's no one looking at that waterfall because Ben Lee, Luke Allport, Stefan Proust, Matt Smithson, James Robinson, Alex West, James Mountier and Justin Roy, Jacques Russenek, all in that leading group, watching what they're doing, concentrating on what they're doing and making sure they are not losing a wheel. Well, there is James Mountier. You can see him on the screen in what looks like, I'd call that his garage. But Mountier, they're part and parcel of this leading group, and a small gradient change there just causing a stretch. And this is what you've really got to watch out for on this course. The gradient constantly changing. We do have 5 climb segments. But in between those climbing segments, the course gradient does change quite dramatically. Uphills, downhills, and you really do need to pay attention. You lose the wheel, you have a problem. And at the moment, this pack just regrouping at a steadier state. Well, they're not at a steadier state in category 3. Nick Scolari still on the front. SS just closing him down and bringing, well, I was going to say bringing the group with him, but the group quite content just to be there. So at the moment, we've got Scolari, Spratt and SS. 3 riders just out the front here in this category 3 race. 3 seconds back to the group. Velez on the front side at 2.5 watts per kilo. Didn't look like he really wanted to do much chasing. But other than Nick Spratt, who continues to push out front, SS, well, and Squilari, they've now got to close the gap down if they want to bring Spratt back. And it's looking like Nicholas Spratt really wanting to keep the pace hard. Well, wanting to keep the pace hard in category 2. They're on the Shroom Grove climb, and it's Cam Winfield. Oh, it's fabulous to have the young rider back on the Sunday Race Club and showing us what he can do. He's driving the category 2 race field up that climb. There were 18 of them at the bottom. Are there going to be 18 of them at the top? Well, they're over the top. That's category 4 and category 3. Category 2 are working hard. Bjarhead coming back onto the wheel of Winfield. Heaney is there as well. Category 1, they are not there yet, but they are not far off. And talking about being far off, I think that's 5 riders, 6 riders that I see. It's going to be interesting to see how many riders have made the cut into that category 1 leading group. My prediction has already been selective. Category 2 race field just dropping. X100 just need to push on. He's at the back of the group. Frederic Gombert and Daniel Bendetti is the riders who have been distanced at the moment on the climb. So we saw 18 riders go into the base of the climb together. A number of riders just getting distanced here. X100 really having to work to stay on the pace and stay there or thereabouts. El Alami, Bjarhead, Nuki at the back of the group. That leading group quite tight together. It's going to be interesting to see whether X100 can close that gap down, but Gombert, I think, has gone. Frederic Gombert out the back of the race. Bendetti as well. So that makes it down to 16. If X100 could get back on, that stays at 16. But if he doesn't, well, the group goes from 18 to 15 on that climb. X100 just coming off the pace there, hoping to come onto the back of the wheel. Mendakowicz is the rider who is on the back with Ospina and Walter. Yes, indeed, X100 does indeed close that gap down. At my count, that's 16 riders now. Well, actually, she says, I got it wrong. Okay, I'm going to own up there. It's not 16 riders. It's 14. 14 riders now in category 2 leading group after the Shroom Grove climb. Category 2 are out the other side. Category 1, they are on the run-in. It's Jones, Vujasin, Kaminsky, Osborne, Van Elst and Knudsen. It is indeed 6 riders. Riccardo Panizza is 28 seconds back. Oh, that's a big gap already in this race, but it's looking like 6 riders at the 16.6 kilometre mark. They're going to go underneath that polka dot banner indicating the start of the Shroom Grove climb. 1.5 kilometres, an average gradient of 3.3%. 6 riders clear at the front of Category 1. Oh, the descent seems to be splitting up the Category 2 riders, not intent on going on the climb. They've gone on the descent, and it's Philip Graves and Peter Milistic. 4-5 seconds they've got on the chase group. You can see the chase group behind just coming around that bend. This section is rolling. This is going to be really interesting because if Graves and Milistic can go up and over the climbs and keep rolling, this chase group are going to make it hard work for them to catch. Coinston, Fawcett, El Alami, Biarhead, Newquay, Winfield, Walter. Mendakowitz is at the back of this group, but this group is doing the chasing. They're chasing Graves, they're chasing Milistic, the 2 riders just out of sight at the moment. They're only out of sight because of the bends in the road, but there they are. You can see them sweeping round the bend there. Now out of sight again, out of sight and out of mind. They're not out of the mind, though, of this chasing group because this chase group need to bring them back in. Category 2, so competitive. And pretty much anyone in this top 14 could take a top 5 space today on the podium. They're coming up to the 20 kilometre mark. The Eco City Sprint is the next banner they're going to see at 21k. It's a long way, though, till they get to the Everesting climb at 37.8 kilometres into this 45 kilometre race, where over 50% of the climb today faces them. Category 4 can see the polka dot banner of the future city climb. That's the penultimate climb on the course. That's the end of the future city climb for Category 4. Some strong performances going in that leading group. So Bruce, Smithson, West, Roy, Allport, Mountier, Connell, Horsley, and Lee. 9 riders going through as a group. Jacques Russenek just slightly off the back there. So the 10 riders leading in Category 4. Russenek just needing to hang on and hang in tight on that section. Now, that's Category 4 exiting the future city climb. This is the 6 leaders in Category 1 starting the Shroom Grove climb. Well, Van Elst and Knudsen come to the fore on the climb view. Yasin, Osborne, Jones and Kaminsky are the other riders in the group. They've got about 20 seconds on the chasers, so it's looking like a number of riders have got together in that chase group. They're around 20 seconds back, just going through the polka dot banner now. So the chase group in Category 1, 20 seconds back, but the Shroom Grove climb, it's Knudsen setting the fastest time, 2 minutes 30 seconds, 0.5. Just ahead of Jason Osborne, Mikhail Kaminsky, Stefan Van Elst, Lionel Vuyasin, Ollie Jones, all within half a second of each other. Carlos Ospina from Category 2 taking the fastest time in Category 2 as we just see the live results change with the chase group come through. And take a look at that. The chase group are moving quicker. They've pushed Michael Knudsen down to 8th place, but it's only 0.6 of a second quicker, but they are moving strongly. So Seb de Vert now taking the fastest time. On the Shroom Grove sprint, Linda Milistic, Casper Bormans, Martin Martins, Arne Jacobs, Michael Plantero and Riccardo Panizza. 7 riders in that chase group. So 6 riders out front, 7 riders chasing in Category 1. Well, that's winding itself up for a great finale in Category 1 already, and they're only at around half race distance. Well, Category 3 are a little bit further, and Nick Scolari, I tell you, is still front here with SS. Peter Connell, Nico Cansara, Lewis Ridley, Godarzi, there, as well as Amaro. These riders in this category 3 pack pushing on too, and really, really interesting to see right the way across the course all of the different groups of leaders across the 4 categories, all so well matched today. This course really playing to the multiple different strengths of our riders. So SS pushing on at the front of this group of category 3 riders. They've now worked their way up into 25th, 26th, 27th place. Leading group of category 3 riders working their way substantially now through the back of the category 4 pack. Henry Yeast now deciding he wants to bridge the gap because he doesn't want to let SS and Squilari go. Kansara, will he go with him? That is a good question. You know, Henry Yeast's wheel is a good one as they go through underneath that at 27 kilometres. That's the future city. SS going through with Squilari, Yeast, Kansara, Ridley, Amaro, Velez in there. Van der Zandt is there too. So is Spratt, Connell, Tidholm. Wow, wow, wow. It's looking to me like we have 12 riders still in that category 3 leading pack. Yeah, and just to confirm, rider number 12, Arvin Godzari, is in that group too. So Arzi, the rider we are watching at the moment on the left-hand side of your screen, part and parcel of that 12-man leading group in Category 3. In Category 4, they're coming up to 30 kilometres of racing. Smithson just rolling off the front of the group at the moment. And they're on a downhill section, just transitioning into the flatlands, but just stretching his legs off the front. Well, Category 1, the gap is on because Kaminsky just pushing at the moment, just picking up his legs and just spinning his legs. Vujasin, Osborne, Knudsen, part and parcel of the leading group in Category 1. Going through that Eco City sprint, just stretching those legs. Kaminsky, Vujasin, Osborne, Knudsen, Van Elst and Jones. The 6 riders leading that Category 1 race. Not challenging Cam Winfield for the sprint time, 6.93 of a second. Von Haren, Ung, Millerstick, Fawcett, Kaminsky, X100, Bjarhead, Krasnich and Heaney. You can see a real mix of categories there from Category 4, Category 2 and Category 1, all in that top 10. Interestingly, 11th place is our first Category 3 rider. So within the top 11, we have all 4 race categories. Still 6 riders leading this Category 1 race. The gap at 37 seconds back to a chasing group of 7 riders. So 6 riders clear at the front of Category 1, 7 riders chasing at 37 seconds at the moment. It's going to be really interesting what happens when we get onto that final climb of the day, the Everesting climb. Yes, indeed, named because it is long enough to Everest on. Now, if you do not know what Everesting is, it is indeed something. I say something. It's a challenge that some people choose to undertake. Okay, so it's really, really simple. Pick a hill anywhere in the world and complete repeats of it in a single activity until you have climbed the height of Everest. 8,848 meters. Now, a lot of people take the challenge and try and do it within 24 hours. And a lot of people have done it in real life. A lot of people have done it on esports platforms. The Everesting climb here on MyWhoosh, new on the latest release, enables you to do the Everesting climb of 8,848 meters. There is indeed an everesting.cc website if you are interested to head over and take a look at who has had a go at Everesting. There have been so far 30,234 successful attempts, and the total number of countries that have Everested, there's a good word, isn't it? Everested. 116 different countries. So riders from all over the world taking a go at this, a truly global concept and a truly global challenge for riders from around the world. And if you want to join, you can do indeed. And the Everest climb on MyWhoosh, allowing you to participate. I think one of our riders, Jeff Rooney, has indeed been the first rider to challenge, to do the Everest challenge on MyWhoosh on the climb. And he picked up an awful big following when he was undertaking that activity not very long ago. Well, our riders are not going to over 8,000 metres today. They are just doing 586 metres of the Everesting climb, but that is 50% or more of the total climb today in this race. Category 2 are on their way there. They're at 26.2 kilometres. They've got 15k till they hit the bottom. They're on a small rise at the moment and really starting to push. This is the future city climb. This is the penultimate segment climb before the Everest climb. The transition then through the Frozen Lake Sprint onto that Everesting climb for them. But this group really now starting to stretch and split. Category 2, 14 riders were together at the last check. So let's just take a look. The future city climb. They're not at the top yet, but you can see that futuristic city in front of them. And Heaney is driving the charge here with BR Head, Graves, Fawcett, Krasnich, Millerstick, and Winfield. Stretch now on the group, and it's looking like we've got Run Rider just dropped off the back, and a bit of a push coming out from riders in the pack. So X100 up at 8%, 8 watts per kilo, 5 watts per kilo, because he's trying desperately to hang into the group, desperately trying to work hard to stay on, because BR Head, Graves, Heaney, Krasnich are putting a strong pace on the front. Look at Alex Heaney, absolutely delivering the power at the moment. He wants this to break up. 14 riders is not what you want to take anywhere with you. You need a smaller group, and that is what Heaney is trying to do. 2 riders now look like they are getting distance from this group. So this group could be going from 14 to 12. We can do a check when they go underneath the polka dot banner signifying the end of the climb. But it's looking like the future city climb has indeed shed riders from the leading group in category 2. Has it shed 2? Has it shed 3? Well, very quickly we are going to find out. I can tell you 9 riders now in that leading group. So 9 riders in the leading group in category 2 as they come over the top there. Mendakowicz setting the fastest time, 3:03. It's going to be interesting to see what category 1 do and how much faster, or if they go faster, than Mendakowicz's time. So Alex Heaney, you can see him there on the screen. His top performances in 2024 also on the screen as well. And you can see in August riding really strongly on the Paso Alto and picking up a first place. So really coming into form. You can see that form in August much stronger than his form throughout June and July. So really progressing Heaney is on the Sunday Race Club, and those performances are coming with him. So great to see that progression for Alex Heaney, and he's part and parcel of this leading group today. Can he get another top spot? Can he get a top 5 and head into that top performances table with his result today? Other riders that are having really great rides today, Nicholas Spratt and Nick Squillari, absolutely phenomenal with SS. These 3 riders now looking like they've broken clear, and it's all over the shop at the moment in this category 3 race. They're at 32.5 kilometres on a downhill section at the moment, and we've got SS, Spratt and Squillari. Henry Yeese is there as well. There's a mix here because we've got some category 4 riders in this group as well. They've been picked up by the leading group. It looks like Amaro is there as well, but then Van der Zandt 8 seconds back. He'll be just around that corner, not yet into sight. And you can see on the bottom left-hand corner of your screen 2 groups of blue riders. So that is the gap, and it's 8 seconds between those 2 groups. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, is that 6 riders? Well, it's going to be really interesting to pick up the count there. and see, but it is indeed Squilari pushing on there. 7 seconds now, the gap back, so that gap just holding, but a real mix of riders at that 33.3 kilometre mark. They're about to go through that Frozen Lake sprint. It's going to be interesting to see how many riders have broken away from this category 3 pack. It was 12 riders. It's definitely not 12 riders now, looking like it's really been split in two. Category 4 on the other side of your screen are really also starting to move away now. West, Smithson and Connell. Allport on the other side of the break, because Allport, Lee, Proust and Mountier are at 12 seconds behind. So groups starting to form all over, and big groups starting to be split into smaller groups. But at 26.8 kilometres, the group of 6 leading the Category 1 race are all still together. This is the Future City Climb, and this is the leaders in the Category 1 race. Now, Mendakowicz has set the fastest time up here, 3 minutes and 3 seconds. Have the Category 1 riders gone any quicker? Well, I can tell you, yes, they have. So 6 riders still leading this Category 1 race all together, and it's sub 3, so 2 minutes 50 for the Category 1 leading pack. Knudsen coming over the line with the fastest time. Kaminsky, Osborne, Jones, Van Elst and Vujasin. That is the leading group in Category 1. 13 seconds quicker than Mendakowicz's time of 3 minutes and 3 seconds. Krasnich, Heaney and X100. The next block of Category 2 riders. At the moment, the chase group of Category 1 riders not across the line. They are now. I've just seen the polka dot banner. The question is, where are they going to pop up? They are slower than the leading group. So Lyndon Millerstick faster, the rider of the chase group there. Millerstick, Dvert, Bormans, Jacobs, Planter and Panizza are all part and parcel of the chasing group. This is the chasing group of 7 in the Category 1 race. They're chasing the leading group of 6, and it's around half a second, maybe more now actually, but difficult to call because of the uphill and downhill nature of the sections. Well, Christian Montoya, Mohamed Al-Kais, Casopi Hernandez, all in the mix here. Hassan Sultan is in this group, as well as Walter Clays and Sergio Hoyas. Franklin Almeida is there too, as Henrik Eukler. This is an interesting group here, because this is the group that our Category 1 chasers are about to come up onto the back of. Really great to see the Category 2 racers putting in strong efforts as well as the Category 1 riders as they continue to push. Noah Batty in the group up the road with Benedetti and Keradine. So Clays, Sultan, Almeida, Hoyas and Hernandez chasing that group of Batty, Keradine, Holweiler and Benedetti. There you go. That's the chase group in Category 1. Now up and through on to that chase group in Category 2 as they continue to move through the futuristic city here in the MyWhoosh world. Oh, further up the road, the fight is on here because everyone wants to stay in this leading bunch. X100 is there, so is Mendakowicz, Graves, Millerstick. They are all still here. Fawcett, Heaney. No one wants to let this go. These riders are continuing to battle. Mohamed El Alami is the 30-second gap back now. He's in the chase group, and this group now 30 seconds clear of the chasers. So Category 2 leading group at 31.6 kilometres into the race. They are well clear of the chasers behind them. We've got chasers. We've got Mohamed Al-Kais on the left-hand side of the group, and that large bunch that he is rolling with as well. But on the right-hand side of your screen at 31.8, this is the leading group in Category 2. They are on the transition between the Future City Sprint and the Frozen Lake Sprint. It's rolling. There's plenty of up, plenty of down on the transition section. At 34 kilometres, that Frozen Lake Sprint will appear as they continue to roll their way through the desert here. That's the last indicator that we have before they we hit the bottom of the Everesting climb. They're going to do 6.9 kilometers of that Everesting climb. Its gradient sits at 8%, a very, very steady gradient. And you can see all 4 races now on our screens together. And for me, well, take a look at that. Category 4, the 2 groups are split by 12 seconds. West, Connell and Smithson are on the climb already. Allport, Horsley, Mountier and Roy, they are 10 seconds back and now starting to motor up the Everesting climb. It could all change. 3 riders out front in category 4. Chase group, they're now on to the final climb of the day. And it looks like Luke Allport is on a mission. Well, the mission that Allport has undertaken, Nicholas Spratt is on his own mission in category 3. He's riding clear of the rest of the field across the ice plains. Henry Yeast is the rider closest to him, 11 seconds back. So Nicholas Spratt, we saw him really early on in this race today try and break the group and try and push on, and he's continuing to push on. Now pushing on is Luke Allport in category 4. I tell you something, this man's found his climbing legs. I don't know where in the garage they were, but he's definitely put them on today, because Allport is motoring his way up this climb. He is a man on form. I know through the public open qualifiers he has picked up a spot in that semi-final, and his form is fantastic. So Luke Allport continues to climb. He's closed the gap. He's gone past Matt Smithson, 5 seconds into Smithson now as Allport sights Connell and West. That's the back wheel of Connell as Allport continues to motor his way up this climb. Phenomenal effort from Allport. Connell and West, well, what can they do about this? They are either going to watch him come past or they're going to join him and continue the journey to the top. But the journey to the top, it is still 6.6 kilometers to the checkered flag. Category 4 race, Hots up on the climb. Allport, Connell and West now the 3 leaders. Smithson being gapped now at 13 seconds. Mountier joining him with Roy and Ben Lee. So he's now transitioning back. Interesting to see. Now let's take a look at the profile, shall we? Because category 4 are there. Category 3, well, they have literally just started on the lower slopes of the Everesting climb. It's going to be interesting for category 3 as well. Category 2 and category 1 are not there yet, but it will not be long. So in the MyWhoosh world, where we are for Sunday the 1st of September, the first qualifier in September, our riders and racers, they came out of the start pen and went up the Flam Forge Abyss climb. It was a start. Well, it was a start that a number of the riders didn't survive, but now our racers are facing the climb at the opposite end of the course, the Everesting climb. You can see it there at 37.8 kilometers. It climbs, well, the segment climbs to 300 meters before the checkered flag. At 6.9 kilometers in length, an average gradient of 8%, and you can see it's fairly constant. There's one little respite in the middle, but it then continues to kick at a pretty standard gradient. 856 meters of elevation in total. Well, that's around 50% of the climbing on today's course. So our riders facing as much climbing in front of them as they have had behind them, and it is all go in each category. Now X100 chasing hard at the moment because the pushers come on from Bjarhead and Mendakowitz in category 2. What on earth happened there? They were all together. It was a big group of 9 riders, but Mendakowitz and Bjarhead, well, they've pushed. X100 trying to close the gap down, and you can see the group in front. Well, that's a group of 3 and 4. It looks like the category 2 riders have just gone past them, trying to create some confusion. X100 absolutely digging deep, sprinting his socks off at the moment, trying to close the gap down. Are the riders able to go with him behind? That's the question, because Mendakowicz and Bjarhead, those two riders, have got a phenomenal climb on them. So they are setting this up absolutely perfectly for themselves. Take a look at that. That is Jonas Bjarhead on the screen. He's up and out of the saddle. He needs to be because of the effort he's putting in, but Mendakowicz is with him. X100 pushing on behind, but Bjarhead and Mendakowicz, phenomenal racing from these two today in Category 2, breaking this group apart and absolutely timing this to perfection. Well, I say that, they've still got 9 kilometres to go. So Bjarhead and Mendakowicz coming into the final 9 kilometres of this race today. X100 leading the charge from behind, but he's dropped the rest of the group because no one else could go with him. They are further back down the road. They're 10 seconds behind, but let's just remember, Category 4 went into the base of the climb, a leading group of 3 with a 17-second gap back to the chasers, and the chasers have caught. So Luke Allport had transitioned from the chase group to the leading group, and all the positions changed on the Everest climb. Now, who's to say that doesn't happen in Category 2 or Category 3? We just do not know at the moment. Well, the riders continue to push. They continue to charge towards the finish line. This has been an epic first outing for the MyWhoosh world in the men's race today. Some great racing going on in all of our categories. Category 1 working their way through the back of the race field. They're coming up and into the end of the Frozen Lake sprint. They've only got the Everesting climb to go, but it looks like a steady pace for them through there, and really not trying to contest the sprint or contest the effort there. So Category 1 rolling through that effort. It is a leading group of 6 riders, and they're sitting around the 65th mark in terms of time through that sprint. So Kaminsky, Yasin Van Elst, Osborne, all in that mix. Now, the Frozen Lake sprint, Pinot from Category 3 setting the fastest time at 13.6 seconds. Bjarhead from Category 2 with Fawcett, Heaney, Millerstick in that mix as well. Young, the Category 4 rider, setting a good strong time there. Krasnich and Graves rolling in that Category 2 pack. West from that Category 4 pack, and then Winfield rounding out the top 10, showing that a number of the riders and a number of the race fields all moving at a very similar pace through that section, and no one other than Francis Pinot really picking up the sprint. Well, the Frozen Lake sprint now behind everybody. The only thing that's in front of all 4 of our racers is the Everesting climb. And I can tell you Category 3 and Category 4 are on the climb. The leaders in the Category 2, well, that's the polka dot banner signifying the start of the Everesting climb for Mendakowicz and Bjarhead. They've got 9 seconds on X100, and it looks like 13 seconds on Fawcett. So this is going to be interesting in Category 2. Category 1, well, Luke Allport closed the gap down and has gone straight past West and Lee. In fact, Lee has come up from the chase group now into 3rd place. So Category 4, it's really motoring. It's also motoring in Category 3 because Amaro, SS, Kansara, and Velez are all together on the climb. Now, my question is where is Nicholas Spratt? Well, Spratt was leading the charge in the Category 3 race, but well, has he been pulled back in? And I think he has. So, Amaro, Kansara, SS, Velez and Yeast, the riders leading the charge in the Category 3 race. Ridley 8 seconds back. We said it could all change the second you hit this climb, and it really can all change. Luke Allport has indeed proved that. It's snowing on him at the moment. Well, in the winter wonderland, as Luke Allport continues to push up the climb, he's got 4.9 kilometres until the finish line and a phenomenal amount of climbing still to go. This is going to be a strong effort from Allport if he can hold this to the end. Alex West 14 seconds, Ben Lee 17 seconds back, Mountier at 23 and Roy at 24. In Category 3, SS, Kansara, Velez, Amaro and Yeast. Ridley is at 9 seconds. They are now on the slopes and working their way towards the top 10 overall on the road. The Category 4 riders who started today, they came out the start pen 5 minutes before Category 3, 10 minutes before, should I get this right? Let me start again. So Category 4 came out the start pen 5 minutes before Category 3, 15 minutes before Category 2, and 20 minutes before Category 1. So they were indeed the first riders on the road and have been for some time. But the Category 3 riders now trying to work their way up the Everesting climb and through the markers in that Category 4 field. SS now in 12th. Kansara 13th, Velez 14th, as they continue to pick off riders. They're picking off riders in the top 10 now in the Category 4 race as they start to head their way up the Everesting climb towards the checkered flag. So on the bottom left-hand corner of your screen, you can see lots of red and blue dots signifying where the races are at the moment, the Category 4 race and the Category 3 race. Once those blue jerseys are joined by green ones, you'll see the Category 2 race on the left-hand corner of your screen join in the mix on the climb. They are indeed on the climb already, but much further down on the lower slopes. And you can see the distance gap at the moment is looking like just shy of 2 kilometres between Category 3 and Category 2. Category 1 then are about 1,500 metres further back from Category 2. But Category 2, it's X100, Mendakowicz and Biarhead, I think, who are on the charge. Yes, it is. And Fawcett 12 seconds back with Krasnich. So the race is on in Category 4. They're now on the Everesting climb and they are pushing on towards the checkered flag. And Category 3 and Category 4 lone riders at the moment. It's a blizzard for Category 2 out there on the mountainside at the moment. Sun shining here in Andorra at the top of the mountains where I am, but it's not on our races on the Sunday Race Club at the moment. The snow is falling. It's a very wintry scene. I hope they've got their waterproof jerseys on and are wrapped up nice and toasty. Category 1 leading group of 6 come in to the base of the Everesting climb. Now is the time for us to see these wizards of Category 1 work their magic on the Everesting climb, because boy can these riders climb. Van Elst, Yassin, Osborne, Kaminsky, Jones. Who is going to make it to the top first? If the last couple of weeks are anything to go by, Jason Osborne is the one to watch. He finished first from Jones on the Jebel Feet last week. The week before, he finished first on the Heritage Climb to Safrazadi, Jones, Knudsen and Van Elst. The week before that, he finished first on the Endurance Climb. Well, it was Osborne, Safrazadi, Yassin, Van Elst and Hayden Parker that time. He didn't win Qualifier 1 in August. Jones took that from Van Elst. Osborne finished third on the Paso Alto in Colombia. But it was 0.299 of a second that separated the top 5 riders in Category 1 that week, which just shows you the strength and depth of this race field. Now, these riders continuing to push: Van Elst, Jones, Osborne, Kaminsky and Yassin. My question is, where's Knudsen? Well, Knudsen is there. He's in the mix, being hidden by a Category 3 rider as they go past Francis Pino. So Knudsen in the mix can confirm it is still the 6 riders in Category 1 at the front of this race. Gradient at 14%, 15% at the moment. Absolutely steep as they get to that 38.5 kilometre mark. Really, really steep. So they're moving up the mountain, but they've still got some way to go. That is Category 1. Ahead of them on the bottom left-hand corner of your screen, you can see the multicoloured race field right up at the top. Well, moving up towards the top, you can work your way through the race fields. You can work your way through Category 3. You can work your way through Category 2. And you can work your way towards Category 4, because they are still at the top of the race field at the moment. SS Nicol Kansara, they're leading Category 3. They've got 7 riders ahead of them. Matt Smithson being 7th at the moment in this Category 4 race. Those are huge snowflakes falling on Smithson at the moment. Horsley, West and Mountier are further up the mountain, but SS comes up onto his back wheel, climbing really strongly today. Kansara is chasing hard, so is Henry Yeast in this Category 3 race. race, now well and truly established within the top 10 on the race course today, working really strongly. So Smithson now being passed by SS. Nicol Kansara will be the next rider who comes up onto his wheel. There's Kansara in the distance. He's currently second in the Category 3 race, but Smithson digs. He tries to jump onto SS's wheel, but he's not going to be able to hold it for long because the pace that the Category 3 leader is moving at is too strong for Smithson at the moment. Well, on the left-hand corner of your screen with 5 kilometers to go, it's the leaders in the Category 2 race, and I can tell you X100 is with Biarhead, is with Fawcett. Fawcett has closed the 12-second gap, and a phenomenal climbing from Ross Fawcett today. X100 has come up onto the wheels. It was Biarhead and Mendakowicz, but Mendakowicz is back now in the chase group with Graves and Winfield. So all change in Category 2 on this mountainside today. Now, we said Ross Fawcett was coming back into form, and it is great to see. After a period of illness this year, he was a Category 1 rider. He had quite a significant period of illness and a long recovery process, but he's brought him back onto his bike, and he's getting stronger and stronger now. And really great to see him starting to put in some fabulous performances again in that Category 2 race field. Well, in that Category 1 race field, Panizza and the chasing group are at 38 seconds. But Kaminski Vuyasin, they are now getting dropped from the leading group. It was a leading group of 6. Kaminski and Vuyasin were part and parcel of that. Jones, Knudsen, Van Elst and Osborne starting to stretch away on the climb. And we've seen this in recent weeks. We've seen Vuyasin and Kabitsky not quite on the form they were to go with the front of the race. Signifies to me they're putting in some huge training blocks for the World Championships because they're expecting to be there at that point in time. But Jones, Knudsen, Osborne and Van Elst, I imagine, are going to be there too. Who's got their planning right? Who's got the strategy right? Well, Kaminski is up and out of the saddle. You can see the effort and the work being done by Mikhail Kaminski today. Vuyasin is right on his wheel. These two riders putting in some great efforts at the moment on the climb. Ollie Jones, Michael Knudsen now starting to get dropped by the leaders here, and Van Elst, the only rider able to go with Jason Osborne. Jason Osborne has not finished out of the top 5 since the start of the Esports Cycling World Championships. He has been to every single World Championships and never finished outside of the top 5. An absolutely dominant rider in e-cycling and absolutely on form. And Van Elst is a rider on form too. I tell you something, he always looks calm, composed, collected, concentrated. Absolutely fabulous riding from Stefan Van Elst again, really up and out of the saddle, tapping on those pedals. A rider on absolutely phenomenal form at the moment, and we've really seen that over the last few weeks on the Sunday Race Club. The form of Stefan Van Elst really coming true. Jason Osborne, the rider in front of him, he is the rider, the only rider to go with Jason Osborne today. Now, Van Elst throughout August has had a 2nd, a 4th, a 5th. In the final last week, he didn't make the podium, but it is great to see him absolutely in the mix at the moment. Michael Knudsen at 5 seconds, Ollie Jones at 8 seconds, Vuyasin and Kaminski now further down the field at around 20 seconds. So this group of 6 who came into the base of the climb absolutely decimated in Category 1, and well, Van Elst and Osborne tapping a phenomenal rhythm up this mountain. Category 4 riders who were first to start today. Buama, the rider that Kaminski has just passed. Sommervilla is there as well. Ramirez, one of the Category 3 riders there too. Zurek. Now we saw Mikhail Zurek, the Polish rider in Category 3, have a really, really strong start today in this race. He's there with Ryan Giuliano, another strong rider in Category 3. But these Category 1 riders, they are absolutely phenomenal. They are putting in, hard work, hard effort, just like every every other race category. And as we say, it doesn't get any easier. You just go faster. And going faster at the moment is Jason Osborne. He's put in a dig and he's pushed on from Stefan Van Elst. You can see Van Elst's top performances in 2024. What have they got in common? A lot of climbing. Great climber, but brilliant to see, the differences through May, July, August, even back to March there in terms of the outer loop in Australia. Seconds, thirds, fourths, regularly a top 5 performer, Stefan Van Elst, and you can see that from those top performances in 2024. Jason Osborne now just unleashing the climb. He's just got phenomenal climbing power at the moment, and we've seen that. I know when we went back to Qualifier 2 in August on the endurance climb, the winning time by Jason Osborne was 1 hour and 40 minutes. It was a phenomenal climbing effort, and he just rode away from the rest of the Category 1 race field. It's going to be interesting to see whether that longevity of climbing ability pays off in the format and structure of the World Championships, because it is a very different format and structure to the Sunday Race Club, and I reckon that's what the rest of the riders are banking on, because at the moment, you give us a long climb, and Jason Osborne is absolutely phenomenal at the moment. Well, Category 2, they're phenomenal racers as well. And X100, Jonas Bjarhed and Ross Fawcett are still locked in a battle at the front of Category 2. Krasnich, Graves, Millerstick and Winfield at 18 seconds. And Category 3 SS now is second on the road, only to Luke Allport, the leader in the Category 4 race. SS has climbed his way through the Category 3 race field, and climbing is his really strong point. Luke Allport, the rider ahead of him, was in 4th place going into the base of the climb with a gap to the leading 3. He is riding so strongly at the moment. He's 12 seconds up the road from SS, and these two riders now in sight of each other. If Allport could look over his shoulder, he'd see SS coming. He's now got to think about his own race as Allport, because he's got to win his race, not the overall. These are two different races. All of the 4 categories having their own races, their own top 5. So Allport ahead of and leading the Category 4 race. But behind SS is Ben Lee. He's second in the Category 4 race, 17 seconds behind Allport. And you can see, take a look at the work Allport is doing there to maintain that lead. And I tell you something, that 45-kilometre checkered flag cannot come soon enough. It's 1,700 metres away. Allport working superbly at the head of the Category 4 race. Ben Lee putting in a storming performance in second. SS leading the Category 3 race. Nikhil Kansara in second place in that race. It's looking like Godazi is now working his way into third in the Category 3 race, but I think he's got company because Velez is there as well. But Mountier and Roy also working strongly in Category 4. It's all coming together on the latter stages of this Everesting climb today. SS, the leader in Category 3, moves past Luke Allport leading Category 4. Allport needs to hold this together now. He has got 1,400 metres to go until the checkered flag. Ben Lee, Nikhil Kansara, they're both second in their respective race fields. Mountier and Roy back down the mountain, third and fourth in the Category 4 race. Godazi is currently third in the Category 3 race. The snow continues to fall on the Everesting climb, and the racing performances that these riders are pulling out of their pedals, absolutely superb today. Our riders in all 4 categories on the Everesting climb. Jason Osborne leading Category 1. He's now 16 seconds ahead of Stefan Van Elst in second place. He's at the 42.5-kilometre mark, 200 metres ahead of them. X100, Bjarhed and Fawcett, 3 riders locked wheel to wheel leading the Category 2 race. SS, he's currently leading on the road at the moment, but he's also leading in the Category 3 race, now coming up with 1 kilometre to go. And not far behind him is Luke Allport leading the Category 4 race. So all of our leaders now within 2.5 kilometres of the finish line. This is the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. We're qualifier 1 for our men's race in September. If you are new to viewing, head over to the MyWhoosh YouTube channel or Twitch TV. Give it a like, a follow, a subscribe. Get alerted when the broadcasts go live, because we broadcast the Sunday Race Club every week. We also broadcast the World Championship semi-finals. That's coming up in a few days' time, and you need to be glued to the screen for that, because that is going to be amazing. You can also follow MyWhoosh on all social media channels to keep up to date with what is going on. You can follow me at Biking Emma for an array of cycling activity, including the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. Really interesting to watch, and I love following the riders and racers. You can follow them on social media as well. Well, Luke Allport is one of those riders you can follow. He's now just been passed by Nikal Kansara. Kansara second in that Category 3 race, chasing SS, the leader on the left-hand side of your screen in that Category 3 race. So Allport being chased by Ben Lee himself, because Ben is second in that Category 4 race. So on our screens at the moment, we have the leader in the Category 3 race on the left-hand side of your screen, the leader in the Category 4 race on the right-hand side of your screen, alongside the chaser in that Category 3 race. And SS, well, he's got 500 meters to go now. The polka dot banner, of the top of the Everesting climb, not coming till 300 meters today before that checkered flag. For those of you regulars on the Sunday Race Club, you know normally it's around 500 meters before the checkered flag, but not today. Well, the road's no longer icy. So much snow has fallen. SS has got his ice tires out. There's grip under those wheels because he's continuing to climb on the hard-packed snow. It continues to be a winter wonderland around him. He's got 300 meters to go. He comes round the corner. The gradient is not going to give up. That's the polka dot banner signifying the top of the Everesting climb section today. He's got 300 meters to the finish. Well, SS time up the Everesting climb, 24 minutes today. Kansara 30 seconds back. Allport, who's leading the Category 4 race, 36 seconds back. Velez and Amaro are moving strong. Godazari is also moving strongly in that Category 3 race. Ben Lee challenging in Category 4, but it's going to be the Category 3 race that comes through first. If nobody takes SS out by throwing a snowball at him, he's going to see that finish line through the snowflakes first. He's going to come around this corner. He's got around 100 meters to go. SS is ridden clear of the Category 3 race field on the climb. There is the snowy UCI banner signifying the finish of the race. SS, your race winner today in Category 3 on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. Well, the confetti canyon goes off to congratulate SS on the climb. Nikal Kansara has climbed strongly behind him. Santiago Velez has as well. Kansara, I think, is going to come through for second place. Velez is going to try and challenge him, but he's not going to get there. So Kansara, who's chased SS up the mountain through the snow, the Brit, well, he may well be used to the northern snowy climate, but he's underneath that banner in second. Velez coming through third place. He's going to finish in Category 3 before our leader. 4 now. Luke Allport coming in of this climb was not with the lead. He closed the gap to 3. He's gone past, and he's put in a phenomenal performance on this climb today. That's the UCI. The snow is falling. He's being picked fourth place in the Category 3 race, but Luke Allport is going to be your winner today. 3-4 qualifier 1 for September. Ben Lee, rider who's next, taking second place in the Category 4 race from Lee. James Roy, Category further in, are going to come in, but I think we're going to see some Category 3 riders through before then. Round Category 2, absolutely, because X100 and Force, these 3 riders have been absolutely together all the way up this climb. Are really, really riding strongly. They have got 500 meters to go. 3 riders, and Ross Fawcett is the rider pushing on. Jason Osborne is 5 seconds behind them. So Osborne now the leader in the Category 1 race, 5 seconds behind the leaders in the Category 2 race. Fawcett and Biarhead now pushing on the final stages of time. X100 dropping back. Jason Osborne coming into view. Ross Fawcett's not worrying about what's behind him. He's worrying about what's in front of him. And that is 300 meters until he sees the UCI banner today, signifying the end of the race, the end of the category. Is this going to be his first win back for Fawcett? What can Biarhead do about it? X100 now at 7 seconds. This is between Biarhead and Fawcett. Fawcett now has 2 seconds. Can he keep this advantage clear all the way to the finish? Well, he comes up and over and past Taylor Gonsolin. Biarhead at 3 seconds. Fawcett 100 meters to go. The snowy landscape absolutely setting this finish off. He's not going to see the finish line until he's nearly there, because it's an absolute whiteout here on the mountain today. So Fawcett looks like he's going to take his first win in Category 2. It's a phenomenal performance, a phenomenal return from Ross Fawcett to take the win in Category 2. Jonas Biarhead coming in very, very strongly behind. Jason Osborne coming over the line for the win in Category 1 as well. X100 third place in Category 2 behind Peter Millerstick, I think, is going to take 4th place in Category 2, and the chase will be on behind in Category 1, chasing Jason Osborne. So Guarin is there. Van Elst is pushing on Knudsen, moving really strongly. It looks like Stefan Van Elst is going to be 2nd place in this Category 1 race today. He's been a rider on form. He was the only rider to go with Jason Osborne. Stefan Van Elst takes 2nd place today. Michael Knudsen looks like he's going to take 3rd. He's 100 meters to go, and he's continuing to push on Ollie Jones at 11 seconds behind. So Jones and Knudsen 3rd and 4th today in this Category 1 race. Michael Knudsen, there you go, sees the UCI banner and is pushing on now towards the finish. Ollie Jones 13 seconds back, should take 4th place today. Michael Knudsen comes over the line for 3rd in the Category 1 race. Ollie Jones not far behind for 4th place, just heading underneath that banner now. And it's looking like Mikhail Kaminsky is going to take 5th. Well, Jeff Rooney, who we were talking about earlier in terms of his Everesting activity on this Everesting climb, must have been the rider who has spent the most amount of time on this hillside since MyWhoosh released it. So congratulations to Jeff Rooney, Category 4 rider there, just behind Mikhail Kaminsky. Kaminsky's got 100 meters to go until he sees that finish line. He's going to come through for 5th place today in the Category 1 race. So Mikhail Kaminsky comes through for 5th place in Category 1. Jeff Rooney in Category 4. The man who has probably spent the longest of any rider on MyWhoosh on the Everesting climb since its release, coming through just alongside Lionel Vujasin today. Vujasin and Rooney, well, Rooney, a phenomenal rider in his own right. Those long distance efforts he puts in, absolutely outstanding. Vujasin taking 6th place today in Category 1. So confirming the overall standing today, Jason Osborne from Hardguard taking 1st place today, 1 hour, 14 minutes, 21 seconds, 32 seconds ahead of Stefan Van Elst. Michael Knudsen in 3rd place, just over 1 minute back. Ollie Jones comes through for 4th, Michael Kaminsky for 5th, and Kaminsky's AlphaJaw teammate Vujasin coming through 2 minutes and 9 down for 6th place, swiftly followed by Ricardo Panizza and Linda Millerstick. Phenomenal riding from the young Australian, not old enough to go to the World Championships yet, even though he qualifies, finishing in 8th place today after just recently moving up to Category 1. Category 2 riders can confirm Ross Fawcett took the win from Yarhead, Graves, Krasnich, X100 and Millerstick. SS took the win in Category 3 from Kansara, Velez, Amaro. As well there. And Category 4, it was Allport from Lee, from Mountier and Roy. So you can see the riders on the screen continuing to roll. Those riders coming over the line. The results are still live. If you want to see the final results, you can head over to mywhoosh.com/results. The results will be live and unconfirmed until they are verified after the race. Once they've got that blue tick, you are good to go. Well, it has been fantastic racing today. And thank you for joining me, Emma Martin, on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club for the MyWhoosh Worlds outing in both the men's and the women's race. Thank you ever so much to the team behind the scenes for putting everything together. Thank you to our riders for putting forward some phenomenal race performances. Stay tuned. The Sunday Race Club comes up every Sunday, but there's a case of a semi-finals for the World Championships before then. Stay tuned to the MyWhoosh YouTube channel or Twitch TV for all notifications. We'll see you then. Goodbye.